fine. And I have a cold, so it'll be even worse. Good morning, everybody. I'm Anne Jacqueline. I'm the Director of the Presbyterian Research Centre in Dunedin. It's my pleasure to introduce our speakers to you, Lyndelle, Gunton, and Anna Lakewood. They're from Trinity Theological Library in Brisbane, Queensland, and probably feeling the cold, I would expect. Lyndelle and Anna are learning and teaching librarians at Trinity. Lyndelle brings over 17 years' experience working in academic libraries, and while Anna is new to libraries, having recently qualified, she has a background in IT, project management and training. It sounds like the perfect combination for you. This combination of experience means they're able to combine their skills to resource this venture into the brave new world, venturing beyond library walls into the frontier of blended learning and theological education. Please join me in welcoming them to this session.
I'm very inspired by Sarah and Lyndelle and Sarah's presentation, so thank you. I hope we can follow. As Lynn mentioned, Lyndelle and I are the learning teaching librarians at Trinity Theological Library in Brisbane. It's one full-time position, so Lyndelle and I job share. Our role challenges the traditional notion of the librarian inside the library, and point 5 of our role is dedicated to working outside of the library in the classroom or digital classroom. In today's presentation, we want to challenge you, as we have been challenged in our role, to think outside the box with your library services. But first, a little bit of background about our library. Trinity College is part of the Uniting Church in Australia. Our library serves students of the college, but we also serve congregation members, Uniting Church staff and ministry agents. And in our library we have 2 full-time staff, so us and Alethea, who most of you will know. Our library has a physical and digital collection, and historically we've been primarily focused on our academic collection, but we have a growing collection for our lay students and congregation members. Okay, I've got a little activity to start our session today. So you all need to grab a piece of paper and a pen, and you have to draw these 9 dots on it. Okay, so once you've drawn the dots, we want you to connect all of these dots by drawing 4 straight continuous lines that pass through each of the 9 dots, never lifting your pencil from the bit of paper.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yep, you've got to draw 4 straight continuous lines that pass through each of the 9 dots, and you're not allowed to lift your pencil from the paper to do it. And the clue is to think outside the box. Give you 30 seconds. If you get it, then you might get a prize. You don't want to yell out at themselves. Oh, yeah, Stephen, good. Will we show you the solution yet? Or do you want? Yeah. Okay. So there's the solution. So you've got to extend your lines outside the box. Yeah. So Stephen got it. Anyone else get it? Couple. So if you come and see us afterwards, we'll give you a prize. And I suppose the purpose of this is just to point out that it's easy to think within boundaries, but sometimes those boundaries are only in our perception, and we need to push ourselves to look outside of it.
So if we consider the ideas of boundaries in the context of library information services, there are many that we face when challenged to think outside the box. Our problem was one that was shared by many library information services, demand from our college clients for a greater variety of access to learning options for ministry education and lay education, with a contracting budget, trying to do more with less, keeping up to date with technology and increasing demand from the clients for IT support, and learning support needs from our particular demographic, which is an ageing one. And, of course, perceptions of stakeholders, bean counters, library members, of what a theological library should look like, what it should be, and what it should do. So management decided the answer for us was in the form of a learning and teaching librarian, one equivalent of one FTE and based half in the library and half outside the library to support the development of online learning. So our position description offered a very broad scope. We were supposed to support the products of the library, services and products, market those products and services, support the teaching and learning activities of the college, and we needed to develop a vision from which to work. So our strategy was to intentionally engage with existing and potential clients in innovative and meaningful ways to better serve the information needs of the college students and staff and the wider community of the Uniting Church in Queensland.
So in order to do this, we adopted a strategy where we decided we would move towards a blended learning model and adopted the blended learning in and beyond the library. The blended learning environment allows us the potential to engage with a wide variety of learners across Queensland and beyond. In addition to increasing our flexibility in terms of learning styles, the blended learning approach also allows us to support people as they engage in lifelong learning or who sense a call to ministry but face limitations in terms of access to Brisbane, access within business hours, or whatever their limitations to learning may be. Adopting a blended learning approach to education, we aim to ensure accessibility to learning for all of those who are interested in participating. So we decided we would adopt this blended learning model, and we also wanted to try any way possible to engage people, be it face-to-face, in print or online, and that was always with the intention of increasing our clients' knowledge and awareness of the library offerings and the college offerings. Okay, so what have we done? We've used Moodle, and we've built our own online learning platform, which we call OLA, Online Learning Environment. And it also lets us have a little cactus as our mascot. We have 18 courses so far, and they have a wide scope, including courses for those students studying ministry, people who want to learn more about the Bible or deepen their faith, people who want to become leaders and lay preachers in their local church, and also professional development courses for employees of the Uniting Church and its agencies, and some professional development courses for our ministry agents. We use all the functions of OLA, so some of our courses use it just as a repository, and then we also have courses where it's fully self-paced learning environment with interactive content and student engagement. We aim to provide synchronous, so through webinars or in the classroom face-to-face learning options, as well as asynchronous learning options. And as we've said, our aim for all of this was to remove any barriers to learning, such as location, family care situations, or current work situations. Our aim is to deliver theological education to people anywhere they are, anytime they wish to study, and with materials always available.
So how are
I'm not quite sure what
not in real time, when it suits you, as compared to synchronous, which is when it's actually happening and you're participating.
learning together or learning
on your own. Yeah. So how are we as librarians involved? So we've done a number of tasks that we thought we would share with you. So we assist the teachers to consider and apply new ways of developing and presenting online content and face-to-face content. We take care of the administrative tasks involving the learning management system, such as enrolling students. We provide advice on copyright permissions, specifically relating to the library management system. We provide tech support for online learners. We maintain current awareness about Moodle functionality and current awareness about research and trends in teaching and learning. We liaise with the IT support and for software updates, etc. And we liaise with legal and financial advisors for licensing agreements and contracts for use of our programs, such as our Uniting Church induction program for employees. So we've been able to support the establishment of blended learning in the college, and we also use it to underpin our own teaching and learning in the library. This has resulted in increased information literacy support. We developed an online learning course that we require all students to step through before they begin their online program, and this has resulted in enhanced computer literacy. We're developing a self-paced reading for continuing education and ministry course. So this is a professional reading program that our ministry agents can do for their requirement to fulfil continuing education and ministry. We live stream guest lectures on YouTube to allow for a wider audience to access our resources, and we're currently broadcasting through Periscope at the moment, this presentation. And we review and provide feedback on course materials and the way they're presented, keeping in mind that we are really needing to cater for a wide variety of learning styles. So we need to ensure that we don't simply provide scrolling pages of text, but we provide visual and audio forms of content to enhance engagement with content and confirm learning.
So we've mentioned a couple of times that we have to do all of this on an extremely tight budget. So we thought we'd introduce some of the tools that we use, which are either free or very cheap, just to maybe give you some ideas. So we create videos using Camtasia. So we've made a few how-to videos for things like how to use our ebooks, and we host those for free on YouTube. We've made telegamis, and the teachers have used telegamis to present information in their courses, and we've also used them in the library. We can show you a little telegami. You should be able to go for it.
You did that last week.
Did you? Oh. We might have to press it later.
Oh. Please.
We won't show you the whole thing. So telegami is just an app that you can download on iPad and so on.
Hi, welcome to the Introduction to Online Learning with Trinity Olay. Olay stands for Online Learning Experience.
So you can just see the
Trinity
different way you
Olay
present
is the
your
online learning
information.
platform for Trinity College,
That's why
Queensland.
we don't need to play.
In this course, you'll learn about studying and learning as an online course participant. If you're new to using computers, we've provided an optional section to help you get started. This could also be useful if you just want to brush up on your skills.
Okay, and we'll just go back for 1 second as well. And back again. Okay, and we also use free online tools such as PicMonkey or Pictochart to create our own graphics that we use to support our learning programs as well. Sorry. Okay. So we've developed a lot of these resources, and we've helped our teaching staff develop their courses. But part of our role is also to make sure people are using it. We're still working on this, but we're getting some progress. So we try and take any opportunity that we can to get people aware of what we do, and we'll take any opportunity we can to talk to people about it. But we want to get people engaged in the library, make sure they're aware of our online course offerings, and make sure that they know that we're trying to remove any barriers that they have to accessing our learning material. And I guess in doing that, it's important to know that that kind of marketing is actually part of our position description as well. So in order to do this, again, we try to engage with the wider church and student body, and we try and do this face-to-face, online and in print.
So our marketing strategy is to engage with current and potential library clients in physical and online spaces. We've sought to meet them where they are, in their workplace, in their learning environment, in their social media spaces, to learn more about their information needs and to share information about our products and services and how they can make use of them more effectively. So our aim is to get more people into our physical and digital library spaces, let them know where those spaces are, be present beyond the walls of the library, and do more than just talk, show our products and listen to our clients. So some of the things we've done are be present at conferences and events where our clients potential and current are. We've attended statewide church conferences. We provide library and information packs. But more than, unlike previous times where the college has attended, where we simply made brochures available, we've tried to make our booth fun and useful. So we provided yo-yos, and they drew people to our booth, and they wanted to talk to us while they were using their yo-yos and showing us their tricks. We had a photo booth with a competition where they could come and have a picture with the cactus and the glasses and the sombrero, and then there was prizes for the best photos. And yes, that's Alethea and I. Thank you. We had a charging station there, so people needed to charge their devices. They came and talked to us, and that charging station has come back to the library, and that's really useful because we get a lot of visitors to the building, and people who know that we have the charging station in the library come and use that. So people who wouldn't normally come into the library are now coming to the library. We got some library bags, and we're seeing those paraded around through the building and outside. And we changed quite a bit of signage inside and outside the library based on Kevin Henner's ideas from last presentation. And if you have a look at our poster in the foyer, you'll see a couple of things that we've done from that. One of the other things we've done was start running what we call lunchbox sessions. We're in a building where the Uniting Church in Queensland is based. There's a lot of staff that move through that building and visitors. So we started running lunchtime educational sessions where we would invite guest speakers to come in and talk about topics of importance to the wider church community, such as reconciliation issues, ethical trade, and a wrap-up from the 2014 Uniting Women Conference. These cost us nothing, and they give us the opportunity to display library resources and get people into the library who would not normally visit us there. We also began an annual charity event. Our inaugural Christmas book drive began before Christmas last year. We asked people to donate children's books, which we then delivered to Indigenous children in Far North Queensland. This event, along with information about the library, went into our statewide church magazine, email newsletters, and local church pew sheets and newsletters. And we ended up receiving 200 book donations. So we're aiming to beat that this year. So where we can be, we have a presence at off-site local educational events, so short courses that the college runs in congregations, and we have discovered that we love running pop-up libraries. The logistics around this are not as complicated as we thought, and people really, really love it, and we're getting a lot more members from that.
We also try and engage people in the online space, and I guess we've got two different areas, if that makes sense, online. We've got our digital library and also beyond the library. So in the digital library, we've got our YouTube channel, which, as we mentioned before, has a lot of how-to clips, how to renew your library books, how to read ebooks, that sort of thing. We've got some Telegami promo clips, also our ebooks, our website, and we use Storify to create newsletters for our members. Beyond the library, we have an online presence recording and broadcasting educational events and public lectures onto YouTube, our social media presence, the Introduction to OLA course, which Lyndelle has spoken about, and that's available to anyone free of charge. So if anyone's thinking about studying at the college, they can do that and see what we're about without having to register for anything. Information literacy support for online course design and delivery, and then also things like making sure we have something in the Uniting Churches, e-news contributions, book submissions, resource suggestions based on topical issues, that sort of stuff. Because we look after our website and the college website, and we don't have a lot of IT or marketing support, we've found other tools that we can use to create graphics and things like that, so our websites and social media sites look interesting and professional. So we use PicMonkey to create little sliders like that for our website, and that's a free tool that you can use, and you don't really need to be an IT expert or a graphic designer to make a graphic that looks decent in a couple of minutes.
And we also tackle the print aspect. So we make use of print tools to promote our library products and services along with the college. We share an advertisement spot in the monthly issue of Journey, the Uniting Church magazine in Queensland. And we produced a little library survival guide booklet with basic information about the library. I think A7, I think it might be. How to renew your loans, how to reserve a book, how to jump onto our online learning platform. And you can fit it in your wallet. So it is a useful thing and people do keep them there. We also have, so the picture on the left is one of our advertisements that we put into the Journey magazine promoting the library that you didn't know you had. And then we also have posters with infographics describing the blended learning philosophy, which we have used as a visual tool to help some of our stakeholders understand the strategies that we are developing and the vision that we're heading for.
So I guess the question is, has any of this worked for us? Since 2012, we've seen significant growth in the uptake of our online courses. We can see that our online discussion forums are being utilised, although we continue to try and get further engagement on this. We've seen growing confidence in our teaching staff and students in using the technology. We have some teachers now who are writing their own HTML code for their courses, not that you need to, but they are. We've seen great development in our educators' use of the technologies. There's much more planning going on to move new courses into the online space. And we're having lots of people approach us who want to add something from their area into the online space, and lots of requests for us to collaborate with them on designing a program. We've seen that our marketing engagements have improved and people are increasingly aware of us. We can also see some evidence in our library of our strategy. So we have increased membership in the past 12 months from the church community, increased number of active borrowers in the library. As I mentioned, we've got an increased number of online students enrolled, increased requests for information and reference support, increased request for library presence at educational events, and just inviting us into classrooms to talk about the services that we offer. We've seen a lot greater collaboration in planning for educational activities and us being invited to participate in those, and also increased library participation within the wider church activities. But not everything that we've done has been a roaring success necessarily, and we've started small and slow with a number of things. I guess our message is it's important to remember that you don't have to succeed on the first try, and that failure is okay as long as you learn from it and it improves our services going forward. We've also had some challenges along the way, one of them being our participants' computer skills. As Lyndelle mentioned, our demographic is an ageing one, so computer skills have been an issue. But we have found that introducing the Introduction to Online Learning course has greatly improved that, and we've seen a real significant drop in the number of people asking us questions if they have gone through the process of doing that course. We've found it challenging to balance the library tasks with our Trinity OLA work, and I think both of us suffer from trying to do everything at once. But we found that job sharing has actually really helped us with that as well. We both have different skill sets, so that's made that a little bit easier. It's been challenging for us at times to convince some staff members of the benefits of the blended learning model, and this has mainly translated into slower take-up for certain staff members and in their teaching areas. Budget pressures on the college also means that there's pressure on the library and on the online learning space, but we continue to advocate for these, and I guess the problem is the online learning platform is a cost to the college, and as it's early days in the online space for us, we're not cost neutral yet, so therefore the online learning platform is, I guess, under threat from the budget pressures our college is facing.
So what's next? So like everyone, we have budget decisions that mean we need to work harder to provide evidence to the wider organisation that this journey is worth continuing. What we do know is that without making the changes that we have over the last 12 months, we would have had a lot less convincing argument to remain operational. The potential for bringing in revenue to independently fund our online program is what we're working towards, and we have numerous collaborations in the works to develop content and bring enrolments based on our in-house IT support. We continue to evaluate current courses by gathering and analysing feedback from participants. We're doing strategic planning for prioritising projects within the college and with the wider church. And we're training staff to identify, select and use a range of teaching tools across the blended teaching learning continuum. And we are constantly looking for ways to extend our service offerings to a wider audience. So part of our purpose in this presentation is to encourage you to consider new ways of being a library, whether that's developing some blended learning skills by enrolling in a MOOC, developing an in-depth understanding of your clients and how they prefer to learn by meeting them in their spaces and connecting with them using the tools they prefer to use, offering training for online content developers about incorporating information literacy principles into design and delivery, use an existing online learning platform to develop information literacy training or another skill development. You don't have to start from scratch like we had to. Many places have these platforms already. And consider using free tools to deliver information about library products and services. This can put people into a state of discomfort, not just library staff, but clients and colleagues, particularly when doing something new means you're going to have to stop doing something you've done for a long time. You may not be thanked on the first try. You may be criticised, or your efforts just may go unnoticed. But if evidence supports your new strategy going forward, you must persist. It might not work until the fourth try.
Right, so to finish today, we've got a short, it's a few minute video clip that we want to show you. And it's a little kid who's built a machine, and we just want to show you this so you can see this child's attitude to failure and success. Hopefully.
I'm on Tricks, and I made a Rube Goldberg machine. A Rube Goldberg machine is a machine that creates a chain reaction, a really complicated one, to do a simple task. So my Rube Goldberg is going to start with this domino being knocked down. They're going to fall all the way up here, knocking down this bowling pin, creating a shockwave, spinning this gyroscope, running down here, pushing the marker top, letting the mini marble run down here, around the spiral, down this ramp, hitting this switch control power socket, turning on this toaster. When the toaster's done, this lever will pop up, letting a ball fall out, knocking all the balls off, hitting this paper roll, running down here, hitting this paper towel tube, knocking down this wine glass with a fushigi ball on top. The fushigi ball will fall off and release the pulley, letting this thing fall on the monster. Rube Goldberg machines don't always work on the first try. So this is my chart. How much successes and how much failures. I think we'll have. This is my hypothesis. And this is the actual. My hypothesis on successes is 2. I think we'll have 10 to 20 failures and 2 successes. But that's my hypothesis. on the full drive. And that's going to be 13 failures. 3 failures. Real Goldberg machines will teach you, if you don't succeed, try again.
So I think his attitude has a lot for all of us. Thank you.
Well, I think the message there is celebrate your successes. The child definitely is doing that. Any questions?
Really fantastic presentation. A lot of that is something that's, I think we all can probably sort of look at and think how we're sort of supporting our staff and students in our institutions and yes, trying to get the library a bit more noticed in that. So I really quite liked your presentation. A lot of that is sort of something that I'm sort of future and thinking about. Something I wanted to know about, with you guys doing some of that online teaching and all those sorts of things, did the staff members or faculty of your college feel a little bit threatened that you're taking a bit of their teaching space or taking a bit of their duties away from them? If you sort of know what I mean, what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think that we have very deliberately, when we started, this was part of the position description, so the rest of the staff were given that information. Then we looked around and intentionally chose to start building relationships with people that we knew were very on board immediately, and chalked up some small wins, I suppose you could say, straight away, because we knew that it was going to take some successes for some of the other staff. They needed to see that it was working. We also were very careful that we didn't tread on toes, that it was working alongside. And that requires, careful communication. For instance, some of the staff would write content, and as many of you will know, writing content for reading or for presenting in a classroom is different to the way you present online. And we did have to have some conversations with people around, you can't just have 4 pages of non-stop text. But one conversation done gently, and people were then coming and showing us, look what I did this time, I put a video in, and they're very proud of what they're doing, and we were able to celebrate those things with them and enjoy that.
I'll only just say, in a lot of cases we're not actually doing the teaching, we're helping the teachers change their courses to make them online ready. So I think we've framed it so we're not taking anything from them, we're helping them do it slightly differently.
You're saying you had some staff support as well, and I guess like you're saying you might have some faculty that are still in the print era, and then you've got some that are sort of way forward in online learning, and I guess that you might have some staff members who might be on board, and there might be some that might feel a bit threatened that somebody's taken away a bit of their job.
I don't think they would see it that way. I think they're just feeling like they need more validation of the blended learning model. They're more comfortable in the face-to-face mode and aren't seeing the justification for moving in that direction, that it's either not as high quality education. The other thing though is that those people, we've had some wins with them too, because although we aren't working with them as intently in the online space, because they have seen how we've been working in the other spaces, they've been inviting us into their classrooms more. So they're happy for us to come and help work alongside them in their face-to-face classrooms. So I think baby steps, and you've got to choose how you're going to work with different people for managing things like that.
No worries, thanks very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation, and I recognise that you said you don't need to be IT specialist, graphic designers, etc. But there are a bucket load of different skills that are presupposed in what you're doing. And my question is that if I was the manager of my college,
So are we talking specifically about the online learning part? Or
Yeah, and the technical sort of know-how, and I mean, there's a lot of coordination there of a whole lot of different media skills.
Yeah, I guess there's two different skill sets. One is the technical skills, and the other one is the education design kind of stuff. And the way we work, I probably have the technical skills, and Lyndelle has the education design experience. From a tech point of view, a lot of it is basic web applications, and you don't need to know how to code or anything like that. It helps if you have a bit of an understanding that that sort of thing makes the web work. But you don't need to have any HTML knowledge or anything like that. But it's about a willingness to try and not being afraid of it, I think, is the more important skill to have. I have a bit of a background in IT, but I'm not a programmer or anything like that. I know how to write blogs, I know how to set up websites and stuff like that. But we've got one teacher in particular who knew how to use the internet, but that was about it. And she's been able to make our Moodle work with her own HTML code and stuff like that, just by
teaching herself.
And me giving her, I guess, a couple of websites where she can go and see how some things are done. I think it really is more about the attitude towards it and not being afraid to have a play with those tools, or to spend a little bit of time looking on the internet for a tool that you can use to create graphics for free.
And we get a lot of recommendations, particularly from Twitter, from other librarians about what tools they're using. Giving Periscope a go today was following other people's attempts to see if that's a great way of broadcasting information. Storify, using for newsletters, Pictochart.
I mean, you do need basic computer literacy, being able to use the internet constantly and that sort of thing.
And yes, an appreciation for the different learning styles that people use, and blended learning from our perspective was from my experience as teaching and learning at QUT, where they have very much a focus on that. So those are things that I don't have a tech background. It's something that I have to deliberately put aside personal time to play with those tools, and some of them aren't useful for our needs, and others are, and that takes time. But I would say the biggest thing is the willingness to have a try with tools.
And I guess the interest in it, to spend the time looking around for things to use, or seeing someone else doing something in Twitter and going, I wonder how they've done that. Can I apply that?
And connecting with them, communicating with other people, and asking them to help you is something that you've got to be willing to do too.
I've got a couple of questions up here. How do you get beyond those who have the idea that it's entertainment?
The online learning is edutainment, or
Yeah.
Yep. The work that we're doing is based very much in research that's been done in teaching and learning spaces. The use of videos as compared to perhaps reading text and using images and things like that has been proven to be a useful way of helping different types of people learn. The research that I did in my master's was about how church communities use information to learn, and the overwhelming feedback was that sitting and listening in a classroom or any sort of setting was one of the less preferred options, that people like a combination of things, and when you repeat something in different ways, it's learned quicker and it's confirmed and stays in memory. So we are applying that in this space, that if someone reads something, they see it in the form of a video or audio, they see an image that confirms it, they're going to retain that.
And we have presented that evidence to like a research paper basically.
Yeah. So that's why we move beyond using those tools in that space, I suppose. Does that answer your question?
Did you say your background was in education design?
No, I'm a librarian.
Oh, okay.
Yes, for in TAFE and university libraries. But while I was doing my started a PhD actually a few years ago, I was teaching in QUT, Masters of Library and Information Science, and they have very much a philosophy of using blended learning, and I did research and learning in that space and became very convinced about the value of that, and I know a number of different higher education spaces use it, so that's why we have it.
Does the person who taught assisting the teachers up feel their questions being answered? We run out of time. My centre is somewhere at the moment where we have got new teaching staff just coming on board, and we're just getting to the stage where we can actually implement some of these kinds of things. So thank you both very much. I'm going to go home and I'm going to have a good look and a good try and a good play.
And we have a yo-yo for anyone who got the connect the dots.
So please thank
No, we have to have the gift for the speaker.
Oh, gift for the speaker, sorry.
I think to be doing it.
That's all right. You can stop it.
I'm just going to do a little advertisement that the longer